Hey, love you too. That's the topic of our conversation today is who the real Jews is. I'm gonna show y'all an interview that took place with this guy named Carson Tucker. Hold up.
And Yahweh, I don't understand, and you're very discouraged in the United States from asking this question for some reason. It's a foundational question. But I just want to get to the point that forms the basis of this whole conversation, which is
Shalom,
who has a right
Micah.
to the land. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring you into Mitzrayim, Egypt again, with ships. And the way of which I said to you, you shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold to your enemies for slaves and female slaves, and no man shall buy you. And that is what happened to the regal class of the house of Judah. The history of...
So what is he talking about? Well, it was a big interview. Carson Tucker, Candace Owens, all them sat down with these so-called Jewish leaders, and they got to talking about the real Jews, and asked them why they are not allowed to take DNA tests. They said, "Well, we can prove who's rightfully owned the land. All y'all have to do is take DNA tests." And you heard that guy say, "Nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing no DNA testing." That's what they just said. We is not doing no DNA. See, this is y'all don't understand what's taking place over there in the Middle East. That whole fight is pertaining to that land. That's what that fight is about. That land over there. That land is rich with oil and everything else, flowing with milk and honey. But that land don't belong to none of them over there. It belongs to the children of Israel. That's who that land rightfully belongs to. So the whole fighting that's taking place over there is pertaining to that land. So what I want to show y'all is bits and pieces of what you're hearing a lot of white folks coming out saying, not black folks, white folks. So because if black folks come out and say it, y'all don't really understand. See, Native Americans was a part of the 12 tribes of Israel. You don't hear about the history of these people. If I ask folks, who was we before slavery? They don't know. Most black people don't even care. Ask black people about their history. They don't give a damn. So I wonder, ever since I was a kid, I always thought different than the rest of the kids. I was just like different. I was so different. I think that's why a lot of the older guys kind of took me under their wing because I was different from a lot of the kids my age. When I was coming up in Chicago, they said I used to manipulate the kids in class. I didn't know that just meant the kids was following you. So I say that to say, they say 50% of America reads on the 8th grade level. Comprehension is on the 8th grade level. Look it up. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up. I don't even want y'all to think I'm saying that. You might trying to figure out where I'm going with this. I'm gonna show you where I'm going with this.
Slavery?
Hold up. What? I'm gonna play this and then I'm gonna go to some Bible verses. But first, I want to show you something. So you won't think it's just something I'm saying. So let me go here. Okay, now I'm about to read it to you. It said, now I want y'all to see what I'm reading, so don't nobody think I'm bringing this up. The reason why I'm bringing this up is it's a 50, it's a percentage of below a 10th grade level. It says several large analysts, Gallup using U.S. Department of Education data, National University and others, estimate that about 54 of U.S. adults read below a 6th grade reading level. So they say most adults, 54% in America. That means the vast majority, they say read at a 6th grade level. That means well over half of adults are far below 10th grade in terms of reading complexity and comprehension. So the reason why I wanted to read that to you is because I think sometimes when we read things, we can't comprehend what we read. So I didn't want you to say or complex about that. That's why I want you to listen to this again. Several large analysts, Gallup using U.S. Department of Education data, national universities and other estimate that about 54% of U.S. adults read below a sixth grade reading level. That means well over half of adults are far below 10th grade in terms of reading, complex, and comprehension. Meaning, a lot of people can't comprehend what they read. I don't mean that to sound messed up, but it is. Because I can read something to you and you would tell me what I'm reading. And the reason why I say this is this. When I was coming up, before I came to Ohio, I was in Chicago. Before I can go outside, my mother would make me sit and read books. And after I read the book, she would ask me, tell me what that book about you just read. She already read the book. So now I would have to tell her what this book is about, what I read, before I can go outside. And make it so bad, the funny thing about it was, I'm in Woodlawn, one of the roughest neighborhoods in Chicago. Woodlawn is where everything started. The GDs, the BDs, the Stones, that's where I come from. Before I can even go outside around this roughest neighborhood on the south side, I had to know how to read and comprehend what I read. So now I say all that to say is this. When I read something, I can comprehend it. And I understand that some people can't comprehend what they read. So what I like to do is try to break things down where a person can comprehend what I'm saying. And I say that to say, if you talk while I'm talking, then you're not listening. So you're not going to comprehend what I'm saying. So I didn't want to take that as a blow to nobody by me reading the statistics and the numbers. I just wanted y'all to know that 54% of the people that nowadays read under the sixth grade level. And the reason why I wanted to share that with you was because simply to let you know that when you get hearing me break these scriptures down, please don't think y'all know what y'all talking about. Quite Nazar, my brother. So now let me get back to this video I wanted to show you. I'm going to show you this video because I know a lot of our black people, we don't watch these videos and we don't know what's going on in today's world. I hear so many black folks saying America kicking ass and we doing this and we doing that. We are not doing all that. We are not winning over there in Iran. And let me tell you how y'all know we ain't winning. I'm about to give y'all a clue. America asked the other NATO members to help. They asked to send ships over there. At first, they said they didn't need help. And then they asked to send for help. Pull your phone up. Google it right now. Say, did America allies reject to help America? Pull it up right now. Did Trump ask for help and they rejected him? See, they ain't going to tell y'all that on these news stations. They don't like to tell y'all that. So they play these little games like we winning to keep y'all rocked to sleep. You can go to that gas pump and see we ain't winning. And it's about to hit them grocery stores too. They say the longer they cut that, keep that tight, everything's about to go up. Everything about to go up. So I know some of us not really paying attention on what's going on in today's world, but we paying attention because what's going on is prophecy. It's prophesized, and we've been telling y'all this since 1960. And since the 1960s, we've been prophesying about World War III. And right now, World War III is the biggest thing y'all ever, it's happening right now. Y'all, they ain't telling you we in war, but we in war. You know why they ain't telling you we ain't in war? Because the other nations ain't rolling with us, and you got to go through the Congress to pass it. The Congress ain't passed it, but we in it. However y'all want to make it sound, we in a war. We in World War III. We just ain't dropped no nukes. We dropping bombs. We trying everything. If we could stomp Iran out, we would have. But that's not in the prophecy to happen. That's not in the prophecy. It's in the prophecy for everybody to get sucked in. See, right now, everybody know them ain't the real Jews. Everybody know that they told you on Carson Tucker and Candace Owens. So what I want to do is show y'all a short video of Carson Tucker and just various different things. And I'm gonna go to these Bible verses. At first, I wanted to show y'all about the comprehension thing, to let y'all know that a lot of y'all that speak, especially if y'all speaking about One West, I know y'all can't comprehend what y'all reading. I knew that because when I went to school, well, when I went to church as a shorty, I used to read, "Thou shalt not worship any grave image, wood or stone." But I'm looking at a cross on the wall. But I'm a kid, but I'm thinking like, you know why I'm reading something and I'm seeing something different. And I told my mother to this day, "Mama, you the reason why I didn't mess with church." And she said, "Why?" I said, "When I was a kid, you made me read and you made me tell you and explain to you what I was reading. So you made me as a child begin to comprehend what I read. So if I'm reading here and saying, my God say don't do this, but I'm watching the people in the church do this, but I'm reading this and I'm seeing this, but I'm reading this and I'm seeing this." And as a child, I said, "Oh man, I'd rather go to church and I'm gonna sneak out and say I gotta go to the bathroom and run down the street and be messing with the guys down the street in them hard ass church shoes. You know, them shoes that be going when you run." So now, let me play this video for y'all so we can get a little bit into this. Hold up.
The bloody question. I don't understand, and you're very discouraged in the United States from asking this question for some reason. It's a foundational question. But I just want to get to the point that forms the basis of this whole conversation, which is who has a right to the land. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. "And Yahweh shall bring you into Mitzrayim, Egypt again, with ships. And the way of which I said to you, you shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold to your enemies for slaves and female slaves, and no man shall buy you." And that is what happened to the regal class of the house of Judah. The history of slavery? Why? Ask the bloody question. Why are they only teaching you the history of slavery as far back as the 16th and the 17th century? Why are they only going that far back? Because they don't want you to go farther back than that. Because then you'll actually find out the truth. And you've got to understand and question, why do they do this throughout the whole of America, in all the public schools? Why do they only go back as far as the 16th and the 17th century to talk about slavery? Because Islam designed infernal slavery. And then the Ashkenazi Khazars, those who say they are Jews and are not, are the ones that marketed it. And the regal Negro nomads, exiled from the kingdom of Judah, were the main recipients of it at the hands of the indigenous black Africans. Because you've got to understand, the regal class of the house of Judah came down from Israel, and they came into the land of the black Africans. And the black Africans resented the regal class of the house of Judah in their land because they had laws, they had customs, they had civility, and they were a regal class of...
Let me stop there right there and let me explain it to you what it's saying. I'm gonna go pull some help. How you doing, Rochelle? I'm gonna go pull up some historical records to show y'all. What y'all call the Middle East, there's no such thing as the Middle East. All black people did not come out of damn Africa. Get that shit out y'all head. All black folks didn't come out of Africa. We also came out what they call the Fertile Crescent, or some people call it the Levant. Some people call it, we came up out of there too. So I'm gonna read it to y'all. What they're telling you is prophesied. What you need to do is get a piece of paper and look up the word Bible. Bible means biblo. It's a Roman and Greek word which means historical records. So what you hear these white guys are doing is talking about the records that's in the Bible. Everybody's going back into these records. The only people that ain't went back into these records is the Christian church, the Baptists, the Mormon. They're not going to go back into these records. But everybody went back into these records. And this is what this white guy's asking you. Why they don't tell you no history beyond slavery? Beyond slavery, nobody tells you who you are. Like we didn't have a history prior to slavery. So the question is, who was we prior to slavery? That's my question. Most people don't even think about it. A lot of black people don't even care. But you have all these white folks now coming out saying, hey, y'all the lost tribes of the children of Israel. Them niggas in the church still don't know. So I'm gonna pull up some few things just to show y'all. Church in the Bible is congregation. That's what church means. And the children of the Israel was the congregation. So let me find you. I gotta go through a few things, see if I can find it. Okay. Okay. Now I want y'all to read this entry. I'm about to read this entry. This is out the Bible Dictionary. The Zandervan Bible Dictionary entry. Ham. Now, who was Ham in the Bible? Well, I'm gonna give y'all a secret. You know why we all come from Adam and Eve? Not because the Garden of Eden. You have to remember, everybody died in the Garden of Eden during the flood. So we couldn't come from all but 8 people. So everybody else died during the flood but 8 people. So you know we couldn't all came from Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden because everybody died. We come from Adam and Eve because Seth bloodline in Genesis chapter 5 comes Noah. Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Well, if you ask most Africans, they'll tell you they're Hamites. When you heard Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, Floyd Mayweather say, I can't make anti-Semitic statements because I know who I am, what they're telling you is we Shemites. We come from the bloodline of Shem. So now, most early Christian churches taught that our skin was a curse and we came from Ham and Ham was cursed. But that's actually not even in the Bible either. Ham was never cursed. So now, I'm about to read to you some biblical records out the Bible. It say Ham. I want you to see what it says so you don't think I'm making this up. You can be able to freeze it or something like that. And I'm going to read it to y'all. See what it say. It say Ham is the forefather of the dark races, not the Negroes. So this is what all the white scholars saying Ham. Who was Ham? That's the Africans. They're telling you Ham was the forefather of the dark races, not the Negroes. Now let's stop right there. For most African Americans don't understand, we became African Americans in 1987. We were never Africans until 1987. What white people did is, and you can look this up. I want everybody to get a piece of paper and write this down. It's called paper genocide. Just go to artificial intelligence and say, did Hebrews and carpet-colored Native Americans get reclassified as Negroes, colored, and mulattoes, and Freemans? So they gave us all different names when they put us on it, but we were the same people. See, you can trace Jews back to Negroes. It broke down like it went from the Adamites to Hebrews, from Hebrews to Israelites, from Israelites to Jews, from Jews to Negroes, from Negroes to colored, from colored to Negroes, from Negroes to Afro-Americans, from Afro-Americans to African Americans. Most black people don't know our race been changed 4 times since we've been here. Anybody that was born in the 70s, you were a Negro. You wasn't an African American. So now let's keep going. The Bible scholars are telling you black people don't come from Ham. They're not Africans. They come from Shem. So now let me read it to you again. Ham says, Ham is the forefather of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Now, I want to stop right there. You know what's so cold, what you just read about there? It tells you Canaanites. You know what that means? If it tells you the Canaanites are African people, you have to remember it went from the Garden of Eden to the land of Canaan. The Canaanites got that land. And then we took the land from the Canaanites and it became the house of Israel, which means, I'm going to show you in history, I just want to confirm it, that the Bible was backing it up. See, my God gave geographic locations and he gave color in the book. It's color and geographic locations. My God gave me geographic and locations and color in the book so I would know how to identify the people in the book. So I know if Ham is the forefather of the black races, not the Negroes, and Canaanites come from Ham, and the Canaanites had the Garden of Eden, then I know the Canaanites had to be originally over there in what you call the Middle East, and there wasn't a bunch of Arabs. Common sense tell me that, because I actually believe in the records of the Bible. So let me keep reading. It say, Ham is the forefather of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. This is often cited to show that Negroes were not considered Hamites, but possibly Shemites, like Israelites. So all the historians, I wonder why my pastor never told me that it's in Bible dictionaries that Negroes were looked at as Israelites and they wasn't Africans. Why my pastor never told me that, or he just didn't know, or the white men that taught him the Bible didn't teach him that, because most of y'all pastors go to theologian schools and get taught this. So now it talks, let's go even further. It say the Jewish presence in Spain and Portugal, and it talks about this, have written about the black Jews expelled from Spain and Portugal in 1492. So it talks about what happened is in Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, the children of Israel were put on ships and scattered to the four corners of the earth. When they got off them ships, they were sold. But prior to then, in 70 AD, we migrated into Africa. When you read the Bible, you hear about Joseph. They thought he was an Egyptian. Moses, they thought he was an Egyptian. Paul, they thought he was an Egyptian. Even when Jesus Christ fled, he fled to Egypt. Now, common sense would tell me, well, these can't be white people if everybody fleeing to Egypt. They would have to be black people. That's what common sense would tell me. But when you're being brainwashed by Christianity, you can't see that. That's why I hate when Christians say, I got the Holy Spirit. If you had the Holy Spirit, you would be able to see this. So let's keep going. It say, these are historical sources to refer to the Jews in Spain and Portugal as black or dark skinned. It said, let's keep going. It said, amazing facts about the Negroes by Jules. He said the ancient Jews were black. I'm going to keep showing y'all. I'm going to show y'all the whole Middle East was black. See, what's going on in that land is none of the people belong in that land. None of them. They're fighting over land that don't belong to them, and it's prophesied for this war to take place. If you don't know the Old Testament, you will never understand this book. So now, let me show y'all some of the things we was going over. Hold up, let me go up a little bit further. Let me show you. So now here's some more sources. I want y'all to read all these sources I'm pulling up. It say, yes, there are historical reports of enslaved African boys who could read and speak Hebrew, often surprising their captors, meaning the white folks didn't know Hebrew. They didn't know that. Why my pastor never told me the slaves knew how to write and talk in Hebrew? I'm finding all these historical records saying slaves and Native Americans knew how to write and talk in ancient Hebrew, but I never had a Christian pastor tell me that. I'm showing you records. I'm not running my mouth. I'm pulling up records, sources. So let's keep going. It said, these stories have been used as evidence of Israelite ancestry by some scholars and religious groups. The most cited cases are found in colonial missionary records. It said the Black Hebrew literature and Afrocentric biblical scholarship. Let's keep going down. It says story about the black boy in Georgia and South Carolina. Reports from some slave owners and missionaries describe an African child who shocked colonists by being able to read and speak in Hebrew. He reportedly quoted scriptures in Hebrew. This amazed the Protestant missionary, meaning that surprised the white folks. You hear that? A little black boy reading and speaking in Hebrew. The Protestant church, the beginning of the Protestant church, it blew their mind. Keep in mind, these are supposed to be prophets of God. They amazed at black people can do the things that they can't do. Then keep in mind, these were supposed to be prophets, and they amazed at black folks talking, speaking, and reading in ancient Hebrew. He said this was used in some reports that the theory that African, particularly West Africans, had Israelite origin. So let's keep going. See, in the Bible, the Jews is black. Let me read it to you. Let me pause right here. You need a King James 1611 Bible, and we're going to go to Jeremiah 14:2. You ain't got to believe me. We're going to go to the book of Jeremiah 14:2. It said, Judith mourneth, the gates thereof are language. Why is Judith in mourning? Because we don't have no leadership. The gates are something to protect you. We don't have no protection. Let me break it down to you. What it's saying is the children of Israel, we are in mourning, and we don't have no protection. We don't have no black leaders. We don't have nobody to stand up for us. It says, they are black unto the ground, and the city of Jerusalem have gone up. Go get a lot of modern day Bibles. I bet you that word black is took out. The Mormons took the word black out their Bible. The Jehovah's Witnesses took that word black out their scripture. A whole lot of Bibles took that word black out their scripture. You need the old ancient 1611 King James Bible. Thou, shall, them words that's hard for y'all to read. That's only like on an 8th grade reading level. So let's keep going. Let me give y'all Revelations. We're going to go to Revelations 2:9. I want y'all to hear this. Candace Owens, Carson Tucker, everybody keeps quoting these scriptures when they talk to these Jewish rabbis. You know who they get this from? From us. This is what it says. This is Revelations 2, verse 9. I know this is Jesus Christ talking. He's revealing something to John. He said, I know thy works and tribulations and poverty. So Christ saying, I know the works and the tribulations and the poverty. He's saying he know what the real Jews is going through. They in poverty. They in tribulation. Them Jews over there ain't in poverty. They ain't in poverty, and they ain't in tribulation. They going through it now, but they own all the diamond districts, the movie companies, the record distributing companies. They ain't in poverty. They're one of the richest nations alive. America give them billions every year. It's saying, I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. Why are we rich? Because the kingdom of heaven and everything belongs to us when this is over with. He said, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not. He said, I know the nasty, filthy lies of people that saying they Jews and are not. He said, and are not, but are the synagogues of Satan. Jewish people pray in synagogues. Christ prophesied that it was going to be some Jews, some people calling themselves Jews, and they wasn't the real Jews. They are the synagogues of Satan. Can I back this up with a precept? Well, we need a precept to back this up, because my God said it in the book of Isaiah 28, 9 and 10, precept must be upon precept. So let me give y'all a precept. The next page, let's go to the book of Revelations 3 and 9. See, the Bible repeats itself. Y'all don't know that. Revelations 3 and 9 said, behold, I will make them of the synagogues of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before thy feet. He said, I'm going to make these people that say they are Jews and ain't the real Jews, when it's over with, I'm going to make them bow down and kiss y'all feet. And he said, I will make them come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. He said, Christ said, I'm going to make them kiss y'all feet, and they're going to know I loved y'all. So let me go back to what I was showing y'all. So I don't want to keep talking. Let me go on, keep showing y'all what I was showing y'all. I just wanted to stop for a minute so you can catch on to what I'm saying.
I don't understand, and you're very discouraged in the United States from asking this question for some reason. It's a foundational question. But I just want to get to the point that forms the basis of this whole conversation, which is who has a right to the land?
Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And Yahweh shall bring you into Mitzrayim, Egypt again, with ships. And the way of which I said to you, you shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold to your enemies for slaves and female slaves, and no man shall buy you. And that is what happened to the regal class of the house of Judah. The history of slavery? Why? Ask the bloody question. Why are they only teaching you the history of slavery as far back as the 16th and the 17th century? Why are they only going that far back? Because they don't want you to go farther back than that. Because then you'll actually find out the truth. And you've got to understand and question, why do they do this throughout the whole of America, in all the public schools? Why do they only go back as far as the 16th and the 17th century to talk about slavery? Because Islam designed infernal slavery. And then the Ashkenazi Khazars, those who say they are Jews and are not, are the ones that marketed it. And the regal Negro nomads, exiled from the kingdom of Judah, were the main recipients of it at the hands of the indigenous black Africans. Because you've got to understand.
Let me pause there right there. What he's saying is the indigenous Africans, Negroes and Africans ain't the same people. Africans sold Negroes into slavery. That's what he's telling you. When we migrated to the west coast of Africa, we didn't sell each other. First, you need to understand black is a color. It's a color in a crayon box. Black is not an ethnicity or race. So when y'all say black people sold black people, that don't even make sense. A West Indian is black. An Ethiopian is black. A guy from Kenya is black. A guy from Jamaica is black. A guy from Haiti is black. One nation of people sold another nation of people. The Negroes got sold by the Africans. That's what happened. Africans sold Negroes. We didn't sell each other. That's what he's telling you. The indigenous Africans sold the Negroes. So let me keep playing this.
The regal class of the house of Judah came down from Israel, and they came into the land of the black Africans. And the black Africans resented the regal class of the house of Judah in their land because they had laws, they had customs, they had civility. And they were a regal class of Negro that came down into Africa. And later on, it was the Ashkenazi, the Islamic slave traders as well, that then worked together with the indigenous black Africans to enslave the regal house of Judah. This is what we've got to understand, but you've got to go back before the 16th century to understand the roots of it. And there were white Ashkenazi Khazar ship owners. There were the buyers and the sellers. And they're not going to fill you in on all of this, but really you've got a four-tier system. Number one, you have the Negro nomads that were exiled from the kingdom of Judah. Number two, you had indigenous black African hunters that resented the regal Negro nomads that had come into their territory with their own customs, with their own laws that were different and would not assimilate into their tribal culture. They were their own tribe. They were the regal house of Judah. Number three, you had Islamic trappers that worked with the indigenous black Africans to trap the regal Negro house of Judah. And then you had them sell them to the Ashkenazi ship merchants, along with many Portuguese and British Ashkenazi. You see, it's just like Al-Qaeda today. Or is it ISIS? Or is it ISIL? Or is it IS? I mean, right? Let's just change the name as much as possible to throw you all off so you really don't know what's going on. Let's keep switching the identity to hide the people. Why don't we just keep renaming you? Are you Negro? Oh, no, you're not Negro. No, you're colored. No, you're not colored. You're African American. And this is what they name you. The slavers name you this. Because I know a white guy who grew up in South Africa. And he now lives in America. He is an African American, and more African American than most. Do you see how African American is a misnomer? It's a misnomer. Don't check that box. It's a title given to blacks by democratic slavers.
Where the real OGs at? We ain't hard to find.
That's what I'm trying to tell y'all, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. When you go to the book of Deuteronomy, if you don't read the Old Testament, y'all won't know what's going on. It's prophesied that the children of Israel, and first and foremost, let me clarify something. You can't even just go to the book of Deuteronomy and open it up and start reading it, because you're not going to know how to read the book. When you see Egypt, Egypt means the house of bondage in the Bible. So if you don't know how to really correctly interpret the Bible or break down the verses, this is why we tell y'all and urge y'all to get in class. This is why we urge y'all to study the classes. We don't charge y'all shit like a Christian church do. All we do is try to wake our people up to what the hell is going on. We don't ask y'all for no money. We don't see, listen, more white folks are starting to talk about this than the black pastors, and the shit just blowing my mind. I can't even explain this to a nigga, because he'd rather listen to a nigga that got taught by a white man than some niggas that taught me this is our history book. We the people of this book. Just like that white man said, why they don't teach us before the 16th century who was we as a people? They can talk about the Egyptian Empire, the Roman Empire. They can talk about all these empires, but when you ask them, who was I before the 1600? I don't know. Why was my name changed so many times in America? I don't know. They'll tell you they don't know. And most people accept that. Most black men accept that, but I ain't no weak, pissy ass, sissified ass black man. I ain't no weak. Church make black men effeminate and gay. That's what the church do. Church don't make you stand up and be as a black man and be like, hey man, I need to find this shit out. This book ain't got nothing to do with religion. I'm gonna keep going down and reading something to you. I just wanted to show you this, that white folks are talking about this. Listen, they talking about this in their churches now. They breaking these verses down to their congregation. But we ain't gonna never see that in no black church. Well, hell no, we ain't gonna see that. They're gonna keep y'all dumb and docile. That's what they're gonna keep y'all. And then they're gonna tell you the Israelites, they're a hateful group. No, we love black folks and we hate our oppressor. We hate everything the Most High hate. And the Most High hates anybody that hates the children of Israel. And hate is in the Bible, all through the Bible. So let me finish one. Let me show y'all a couple of more things, man. It's crazy. Even in the Bible dictionary, they're telling you niggas ain't Africans. So let me keep going for a minute. So now let me read something to y'all to show you there's no such thing as the Middle East. Middle East indeed is a modern term. It first gained currency in the early 20th century with the British and American geographic thinking around the time of World War II. He said, before that, the region was often described as part of the Near East, older European term for the Levant, the Fertile Crescent, like I said, Mesopotamia, Levant, the Nile Valley, Asian Minor for modern day Turkey. Biblically, this region is part of the land of Ham, Egypt, Canaan, Shem's descendants. So it tells you there's no such thing as the Middle East. The Middle East was created in the 20th century. You don't read about a Middle East in the Bible. There's no such thing. It's made up. It said, you are absolutely right. The Middle East is a modern label. Historically, people would have been identified as Egyptian, Nubian, Canaan, Assyrian, Babylonian, Persian, Hebrew, not Middle Eastern. So it's valid to reject Middle East as in, it said, so it's valid to reject Middle East as an artificial term when looking for ancient biblical identities. So they're telling you that shit ain't in the Bible. It's made up. It's made up. So the next time they tell you Jesus Christ look Middle Eastern, you tell them that's a damn lie because the Middle East is made up. There's no such thing as the Middle East in the Bible. That's what you tell them. Or you ask them, when was the Middle East created? Ask them that. I love asking them that. They look at you like you crazy. They didn't even know the Middle East was created. Hold on, let me. It's a couple of more. Listen, I can be here all day showing y'all shit, man. But it's about time to go. I just want to let y'all know that the Jews is black. That's us, man. We the real Jews. Jeremiah 14:2. The Jews is black. In the book of Daniel 7:9, write these scriptures down. The Most High, not Christ, because Christ is not the Most High. The Ancient of Days, the Creator, he black with woolly hair. He's in Daniel 7:9. In the book of Revelations 1:13-15, You need an Old Testament Bible. Get the old 1611 King James Bible. All of y'all got these new modern Bibles. A lot of these terms is not going to be in the Bible because they took them out. They changed the wording of the Bible, so you ain't going to find it in there. So Revelations 1, Daniel 10, 5 and 6, that's another description of Jesus Christ. People think it's only one description of Jesus Christ. That's another one. Write these scriptures down. Ezekiel 1, 5 and 7, that's the description of an angel. I'm giving you all niggas in the Bible. Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. Job 30 and 30. Acts 13 and 1. Listen, I got way more color scriptures I can just run. It's color all through the Bible, identification all through the Bible. If they say the children of Israel were always compared to the ancient people of Egypt, then if I'm in church as a child, this is how I would think. Well, if the children of Israel look like the ancient Egyptians, well, the ancient Egyptians were like Nubians, they was black. So if the children of Israel were always compared to the ancient people of Egypt, they would have to be black. See, that's how I thought as a child. I thought like that as a child. My thinking has always been different. Even in prison, they didn't put me in population around the rest of the inmates. They said I had too much influence over the inmates. So I spent a lot of my time in prison locked down. In fact, I spent the vast majority of my time locked down. I think that last time I did 13 years, I think I spent 10 years locked down, like in blocks 23 and 1. Because they said I had too much influence over the other inmates. So they didn't want me around, meaning I can think. I can think a little bit. So if I read something, if it say, like for instance, let me show y'all a quick thing, what I'm saying. Give you a quick illustration of what I'm saying. We're going to go to Revelations. So we're going to start at I like starting at this verse 11. Revelations verse 1:11. It's saying, this is Christ. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in a book. A lot of Christians like to say this is allegorical. Christ said, what you see, write it in a book. So I can comprehend what I'm reading. So when John, the revelator, is writing this, he's writing what he sees. Let's drop down to verse 13. It said, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, is Christ, clothed with the garment down to his foot, and the girdle about his paps, a golden girdle. This is when you see us with our girdle, our belt around us. It said, and his hairs, it said, and his head and his hairs, his head and his hairs on his face were white like wool. A lot of black folks seen black people with white hair on their face and on their head. That's rampant in our community. They said, and his feet, unlike unto fine brass, as if they. What is they? In context, it's talking about his feet. Let's go over it again. And his feet, like unto fine brass, comma, as if they. What is they? The topic is his feet, as if they burn in a furnace, comma. So if you burn anything, it turns black. It said, and his voice, a sound of many, meaning he had a voice like Barry White. He had a voice like Teddy or somebody, a voice of many waters. So when y'all say color ain't in the Bible, color's all through the Bible. It's learning how to comprehend what you're reading. This is why I showed you when people say his feet, they read over. This is how Christians read the Bible. And his feet was like unto fine brass if they burnt in a furnace, and his voice was of many waters. They ran past everything that was important. It's commas in there and everything, and they just read over everything. That's how Christians read the Bible. It be like, and his head and his hairs were like unto fine wool, as white as snow, and his eyes was as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto, and they ain't comprehending nothing that's being said. The hairs on his face, my hair is getting white. They coming in. They coming in more on my hair, but they coming in. And his feet is the color of the rest of his body. His feet, listen, Christ was a nigger, a black man. His feet was the colors. If they burn, you burn anything, it turn black. Now y'all can play these little games y'all like to play. Well, if you burn something, it turn gold. Man, you burn something, you burn his feet, it gonna turn black. You burn his feet, it ain't gonna turn gold. Feet is the context, not the brass. Let's read that one more time. And his feet like unto fine brass. They're comparing his feet unto fine brass. The remnant of a brass is brown. The same way of copper color. We was known as people of brass color or copper color. We were different shades of brown. As if they burn in a furnace. You burn anything, it turn black. With that, shalom. We are the ISUPK out of 125th Harlem, New York, under the commanding General Yohana. To all my blacks and Hispanics, of Native American. You have to be of Olmec, Taíno, Aztec, and of Negro descent. If you a Spaniard, you basically a Peckerwood. This message ain't for you. It's my people, man. It's time for us to come together, the 12 tribes of Israel. Join my brother tonight. He got a class tonight starting at 7, man. A Cincinnati class, man. Plug in to him on the Dayton channel. You know what I'm saying? Check him out, man. We listen. I know they listen to me, man. They are lying to y'all on the news. America getting everything they looking for. Y'all can believe that shit Trump telling y'all if y'all want to. Like I told y'all, all y'all got to Google is, did American allies reject to help America? If you winning something, you don't need help. Shalom.